and welcome to Fast Break Breakfast NBA Podcast. My name is Keith Parrish, and I'm here once again with my buddies through the miracle of computer phone. I'm joined by Sean Keane. Sean, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing great.
That's awesome to hear. Also joined by Kelly Dwyer, who appears to be calling in from a neighbor's driveway. Kelly, how are you?
I think technically I'm still on the good property, but yeah.
Are you on public or private land? That's all I need to know.
Private land.
Oh,
private land.
Amazing.
But you'll hear cars.
Well, we have breaking news this morning, and it's not that John Burr is apparently at Woodstock. He said he's at Woodstock. I asked no follow-up questions. I don't know is there a festival going on right now? No idea. He's just geographically at Woodstock, New York. Is there a Woodstock, Tennessee? I don't know any of the answers. Anyways, breaking news beyond that, Bob Myers has stepped down. How is that for some news before your breakfast? Sean, you're a Warriors fan. What are your immediate pre-breakfast reactions to Bob Myers stepping down?
Well, I was looking forward to this coming down at a dramatic press conference, but I guess you have to leak these kind of things to the insiders first. So my theory on Joey Devine and I, my co-host at Round Ball Rock, have talked about this, and I'm sure that being the president of the Warriors is a very stressful endeavor. However, this all happened because the Warriors ownership did not simply get this contract done a year ago, when they should have just given him the appropriate raise that an NBA president would get when his contract's up. Bob Myers was claiming that he was the highest paid guy, but everybody knew he was like 7 or 8 or 9. And I mean, not to make any statements about how much NBA executives should be compensated, but
no, that is not our place.
Yeah. But when you have a guy like Bob Myers, who's clearly like they won the title last year. That was the time to say, like, well, now, you just get to be I don't know if he would be the top guy, but you have to at least make him like one of the top 3. But I think you probably just have to give him more than the last guy to sign a contract got, because that's like, it's like you can't offer a player that's like under the max, really.
Well, I mean, the Celtics might offer Jaylen Brown under the max, but more on that in a second. You're saying this was a front office circumstance that was akin to we had a Jalen Brunson situation with Bob Myers.
Yeah.
Like, if they would have offered him the extension a year earlier, they would have locked him down, no drama, and you don't lose the asset.
Yeah, because I think if they'd asked him last summer before the contract was up, but unfortunately they gave him an entire year to think about whether he wanted to do the job or not. And while that's happening, Draymond Green punched a player.
Yep.
He got to watch how old some of these dudes are getting. It's the Warriors. There was an article that discussed what the Warriors' core 6-person brain trust is. And it's Bob Myers, Mike Dunleavy Jr., who is, I think, the assistant GM, Sean Livingston, former player Sean Livingston. Yeah. And then Joe Lacob, Kirk Lacob, and Kent Lacob. And if you're Bob Myers, I don't know if I want like an entire family. It's like
Were those last 3 Succession characters?
I know. Doesn't that sound like that?
Well, I don't know. I don't know this Kent Lacob.
I didn't know there was another.
Was there a Kent Roy? Yeah.
I didn't know there was a second kid.
Kirk and Kent. Also, his dogs are named. Joe Lacob's dogs are named after.
Of course, the Atlas Shrugged.
From Atlas Shrugged.
Yeah.
They're like Galt and. So yeah, I think they just made him. They let him get a chance to think about whether he wanted to do the job or not, and then because there was basically a whole year where everyone knew he was going to be a free agent, he just ended up getting these wild supposedly job offers to just, I mean, there's enough kind of just weird rich people in the Bay Area where someone would pay him more than a GM salary just to like work for their hedge fund. For
just consult and be
and like he could
a
probably
board
figure
member
this out.
yeah.
And also, I don't even know that job is really that hard, or is it just that you went to Wharton? You know what I mean? Like David Lee apparently became a stockbroker immediately after his career ended. Nothing sketchy about that based on his connections with the Warriors. But yeah, I feel like Bob Myers is like, well, I feel like I'm as qualified as David Lee to make this transition. But,
well, I mean,
he's just doing nothing for the moment. But
now the question is going to be: is there, another franchise? Like, what's best for league drama? It's got to be, can he move into this role for the Hornets? And then we establish that Steph Curry returning to the Hornets, final days of his career.
Yeah,
maybe. I mean, honestly, I feel like, Kelly, what do you think? Like, this could be a situation of the Warriors do have some tough decisions to make, and it's basically the new CBA is seemingly is a war on the Warriors and Clippers, and eventually they might have to cut costs, and you got to choose between Draymond and Clay and Jordan Poole and Wiggins going forward, and he's just like, you know what, I can go work somewhere else and make $9 million a year at a different spot. What do you think, Kelly?
Yeah, Keen hit it. It's a horrible situation. It's, they could win a title next year. Things can happen. Players can get injured. 3-pointers at the right time. The Warriors are still a contender, but they're going to have to bring everyone back, and they have absolutely no room to diddle and twiddle. They have no room for a GM to come in and show how much of a genius they are, unless they're the one that makes the Draymond sign and trade, or they're the one that has to do the dirty work with Jordan Poole. And that's what these guys want. So they're not going to get a name guy. It's going to be Dunleavy coming in and listening apparently to what that third Lake Up has to say.
Yeah, I think it's Kent Dunleavy. I think we nailed it. Who it's going to be. Actually, this just came to me. I think I figured the whole situation out. I think when you go back to the preseason punch and Jordan Poole is like, listen, I'm going to sue the team. I'm going to sue the team for workplace, whatever. I got assaulted. You guys brushed it under the rug. You guys tried to fire the videographer who leaked the video. And Bob Myers is like, listen, on my word, if you don't do anything, I promise I won't trade you. And now he's like, well, I'm not going to trade you.
Someone else is gonna.
This Kirk Lakeup guy is going to trade you. It's not me. I promise. I kept my word. You said you wouldn't sue. As long as I don't trade you. Yeah.
One thing that's amazing about the Warriors front office is even though Kirk has worked in the front office since they bought the team, and I think he had some kind of minority owner's kid job with the Celtics too.
Yeah.
But everyone constantly says he's just being groomed to be the owner. Like you don't actually need a 15-year internship to be an NBA owner. You know what I mean? Like that part, it's just weird that they're not like, oh, he would be the team president. He's just gonna vote in the meetings.
Yeah.
He's gonna show up at the draft lottery in 2 years when the bottom falls out of this thing.
I'm also seeing Bob Myers was making about $8 million a year, but like in the Bay Area, that's what, like 200K? I mean, what is that? How does that equate to the Heartland?
That's so silly that they're going to the thing that they should, irrespective of last year's contract, give him the contract to be the guy that has to lord over this mess. This is no time for a Lake Up to come in and show how genius they are. Dunleavy is. They nitpick over like, what did Wiseman make this year? What does Kuminga makes this year? What is a lottery pick? What is the number 4 pick in the draft going to make this year? More than the GM of the team? Bring him in to lord over your mess and to lower his own value, and then come in 4 years and show, if you're owning the team, you got to have a long view with this. Yeah. You got to have someone all built up to take the fall. And unless they have a magic bullet that they know is going to save the team, and that's not happening. Dunleavy Jr. Too many concussions as a player.
Yeah. that Giannis kick to the face. Anyways, I'm honestly
a wildly unpopular player when he was a Warrior, by the way. Like, just a complete disappointment as the third pick in the draft, and then somehow got a contract extension from Chris Mullin. He basically had one time when the fans rallied around.
They should have gone with like a Donald Foyle or Andres Biedrins. Get someone popular.
They hid the contract extension on the same day they signed a very popular Jason Richard extension. It was just crummy all the way around. Also, he was the ball boy on the '99 Portland Trailblazer team that whiffed on the finals against the Lakers.
Oh my God!
So he had NBC screens on before he even went to Duke. He's just, not me personally. I'm just saying other people might hate him.
Other people might feel that way. Well, guys, I got to say I'm a little lightheaded with all this basketball talk before our breakfast. What breakfasts have you had today? We start the show every time talking about breakfast. Kelly, what was your breakfast before you posted up in this stranger's driveway?
Several cups of pomegranate green tea.
Oh,
and I guess if we're technical, the appropriate dosage of generic Zoloft, and then that's it so far.
Very nice.
It's 7:30.
That's the ideal morning prescription. Sean, what's your breakfast?
I just took a bite of a banana, so I didn't have to lie about not eating. I was gonna eat it, and then I started plugging things in and reading about Jaylen Brown. But I have been making steel cut oats. Which are healthy, and then I usually put in a fried egg on top of them, which makes it probably not healthy again. But
no,
you need a little protein. It's fine. I feel like Kelly, I want to say the first like 3 or 4 times he came on Fast Break Breakfast. Am I remembering this correctly, Kelly? I feel like you ate steel cut oats every single day, or like that was like your go-to.
Just a lot of oatmeal.
Just a lot of
fair amount of oatmeal.
All right,
I'll throw steel cut in there sometimes, but it's sometimes you don't feel manly enough for it. Sometimes you feel like an instant guy.
Right. No. Yeah. I a lot of imposter syndrome when I'm trying to who am I trying to kid? I'm a Quaker Instant type of guy. My breakfast. So my 5-year-old daughter tried something, and I needed to know. Our cereal boxes were running low. We're on summer break. And she's like, she asked for Fruity Pebbles. So we had Fruity Pebbles, and I'm like, this box is basically empty. It's only crumbs, essentially. And I was like, do you want Cocoa Pebbles? And she's like, I want Cocoa Pebbles with all the Fruity Pebbles dust on top of it. And I was like, that is going to taste terrible. She's like, I want to try it. And I'm like, you're not going to eat this. You have to eat it. And she's like, I will eat it. And her promising to eat it, it's a meaningless gesture. She easily would take one bite, like, nope, gross. She said it was great. So I had to try. I was like, what is Cocoa Pebbles with Fruity Pebbles mixed in taste like?
Yeah.
It tastes like Cocoa Pebbles. I don't know how that chemistry works. That
makes sense.
Just the Fruity Pebbles lost the battle to the Cocoa Pebbles, and it was just all sort of pebble chemical flavor. The chocolatey, not quite chocolate milk, the chocolatey essence in there. It just lost the battle. So it was like kind of a tangier Cocoa Pebbles, I guess. But good job by her. I guess experimenting
100%.
with the breakfast. Anyway, those were our breakfasts.
It's a continental breakfast favorite. It's for the kid in the hotel.
Absolutely.
Classic.
By the way, taking the children to a hotel this weekend, going to Alabama for a funeral. That's the parish family vacation. Gonna be a lot of fun. It's okay. It was a very old person. Hopefully we'll hit up a continental breakfast. That's how we're going to sell the trip. They have giant cereal in huge containers. You get to serve yourself. Anyways,
that's pretty appealing.
Yeah.
There's a comedy club called Rooster T. Feathers.
Oh yeah.
Used to put you up at a hotel that had a omelet station on the weekends.
Ooh.
And it was like the real hook to the club.
Right. We don't actually have to pay you. Omelet station. Anyways, those were our breakfast. After our breakfast, we moved to our breakfast in bed. Apologies. I'm not going to make Kelly or Sean apologize unless they really want to. I was just going to apologize to our listeners for just the schedule of the finals and some things that occurred. We had this game 6, incredible game on Saturday night. I was at a wedding reception. I also had a cold. I lost my voice. So basically no podcast came. I thought about like a Sunday or a Monday, couldn't even do it. So all the reactions I would have given about this incredible game, the spectacular finish, I mean, lost for forever. So we never would have known how we felt about it. Also, I'd like to apologize to Derek White's shot, which has now been lost to history. I think it went from what could have been an iconic moment of NBA history to now kind of honestly a waste of energy, like a very painful. Well, if that hadn't happened, we wouldn't have this feeling right now. And now this clip, if anyone shows the Derek White clip for all of history, someone is going to reply snarkily, well, and then what happened? And they're not going to be wrong. So a lot of apologies there. Is there anything that you guys would like to get off your chests, or should we move on to our steak and eggs?
Oh, it's protein time.
Protein time. Let's do it. Well, anyways, before we get to our steak and eggs best thing, just a word from the sponsor. Download the brand new official Grind City Media mobile app. Explore new ways to access your favorite Grind City Media content, from your favorite shows and series to news and entertainment. Stay connected with exclusive content at your fingertips with the new Grind City Media mobile app, available in both the Apple and Google Play stores. All right, steak and eggs, best thing. We're not going to hold hard and fast to the format. I didn't even check to make sure Kelly and Sean had good bests and worsts. We're just going to do it buffet style, continental breakfast style. You say something, we'll build off of it. Or even you could throw something out and we'll try to figure out if it's a best thing or a worst thing. But we probably should start with the Miami Heat. Taking care of business in objectively the funniest way possible. Everyone said this was the best outcome, is to go up 3-0, blow the 3-0 lead, and then win Game 7 in Boston. Kelly, as someone with a good grasp on basically everything that's happened in the NBA in the last, what would you say, 30 years, 40 years? How far do you consider your expertise? What did this series in this specific Game 7, what were your takeaways?
Oh, just the giddiness to which, and I wasn't really on social media much, but at least I felt it. Everyone was so happy that
it did feel that way.
It was yay. Boston kind of acted like they deserved it. That they were, of course we're going to do this. Oh, there's a caveat, they're the 8th seed, but we're Boston. I didn't mean to dive into the accent there, but it just happens sometimes. Just the happiness with, whenever you counted out the last knockout punch 4 minutes to go, it's like, oh my God, they're going to do this. This is going to happen. There's not going to be a 3-point barrage. It made everyone happy. Boston's not going away. They have a rookie coach and they have 2 incredible swingmen. No one's, crying. It's not like their last chance at anything. It's not like a Warriors situation, Lakers situation. This is different. Even if the ratings are icky, even if the next round is 40-point games every time, it was just, oh my gosh, they're going to do this. And, in retrospect, that Derek White shot was like the worst thing that could have happened to Boston. I'm not saying the ankle sprain to the best player is the worst thing that happened to Boston. I'm saying spiritually that shot, it's the worst thing. Max Strus didn't have the game of his life. You know why? Because it wasn't his fault. Okay, they took it as a team. They handled it as a team. But when it became obvious it was going to happen, it was just so happy.
I think I'm going to change what I said. I think I've actually decided this outcome was actually better for Celtics fans than if the Derek White shot hadn't happened. And if they'd blown that 10-point lead in the final 3 minutes of Game 6, I actually think that's more painful, because that would have been a stunning, like heartbreaking in the moment collapse. This was one of those losses where you got to begin your coping early, because it was like, oh, this isn't going great. We don't have that many points. Oh, we're down at halftime. Oh, we're down kind of big. So I think
Cornette is checking in.
Yeah. Sam, we're now playing Sam Hauser. Okay, this is not what we wanted. So I think for me as a fan, if it was my franchise, I do think I would have rather gone out like this, where at least the Game 7 is not the like heartbreaking, crushing. We committed a 3-shot foul on Jimmy Butler with 3.0 seconds left, and that's how we blow our 10-point lead. Sean, what was your do you want to keep talking about this series, or is there another?
Let's talk about this a little bit more.
Please.
What I like with when you were talking about Max Strus, it really reminded me of how the Celtics responded to Grant Williams, poking the bear with Jimmy Butler, and his teammates just wouldn't even answer questions about it.
Yeah.
And looking at that game, I went back and watched the last couple of minutes. Grant Williams is also the only person scoring for Boston during that Jimmy Butler run. So it's kind of like, I don't know. It really felt like the Heat had a little bit more team loyalty, or not wanting to just, I don't know, toss people in the trash. I don't know.
Well, I think it's a good point that like Grant Williams took a lot of the brunt of criticism for like getting in Jimmy Butler's face, but I think Grant had some form of reasonable expectation that his teammates wouldn't just leave him out on an island by himself. Be like, oh, actually, we're gonna be terrible now. Sorry, buddy. Like, you're talking a big game. He was the guy talking the big game. He's like, oh, my big brother's got my back. And then he's like, my big brother's like, oh, I gotta go to work. I'm out. Also I think my best thing maybe from this series is just like the whole Caleb Martin-ness of it. I mean, Caleb Martin won Game 7. I mean, he was a vote away from winning the Larry Bird Eastern Conference Finals MVP trophy. And I'll be honest, like, I knew even in Game 6, I think Game 6 he had 24 points and 15 rebounds. Even when I saw that vote, I was still like, what? Like, I knew that, and I saw him like have this incredible game in Game 7, but I was still stunned. But his overall numbers are so spectacular from this series. He's like, here's some random stats on it. He is one of 7 players in a conference finals to score at least 135 points and hit over 60% of his field goal attempts. I mean, yes, 135 points, arbitrary stats cut off. But the only guys to do that in the conference finals, Shaq, LeBron, Dwayne Wade, Dwight Howard, Sean Kemp, Kareem, and Caleb Martin. And it's just like a guy who was waived by the Hornets.
Kareem and Caleb Martin.
Yeah, this guy was not only was this guy waived by the Hornets 2 summers ago, no team had a roster spot for him. Like, he joined Miami on a 2-way.
Also, the Hornets waived him and then extended his twin brother.
They chose the wrong twin.
It happens.
It happens. No one knew who the better Martin was back then. It was Cody or Caleb. I mean,
I didn't even distinguish them.
By the way, we got a croissant question from listener Mike F. Very good question here. He asks, does Keith get confused now that Caleb Martin and Cody Zeller are on the same team? Now, to bring you guys up to speed, Sean and Kelly, this is a great question, because the way I used to distinguish who Caleb and Cody Martin were, the way I knew who was on which team, my mnemonic device was Cody Martin's on the Hornets. And I remember that because that's where Cody Zeller plays. Cody Zeller, Hornets, Cody Martin. That's easy to remember.
Oh,
so now you see the problem. Cody Zeller, maybe the key to which Martin twin is the best is which one plays with Cody Zeller. Maybe Cody Zeller is the key that unlocks the Martin twins.
The Hornets always had a much better point differential when he was in the game. So,
and I was Cody Zeller. I was singing Cody Zeller praises for a while, looking at those one of those on-off numbers and lineup data. Like, this Cody Zeller guy's killing it
when he's off. I mean, we've been talking about what Spoelstra's whispering, Grover Cleveland saying to Jimmy Butler. Like, what is Cody Zeller saying to Caleb Martin on the bench?
That's the thing.
That's what we got to lip read here.
Yeah, we got to get to the bottom of that. Yeah, you had basically Jimmy Butler getting carried by Caleb Martin in this game. I mean, Jimmy Butler did not have the strongest close to this series overall. And Caleb Martin, I mean, he was hitting, it wasn't just he kept making the threes like he's been doing all playoffs. He was making like step backs and one-on-one moves. And like, he was
buzzer beating
twitching runs. Yeah.
I'm going to break this play and go here. It genuinely reminded me, like, he's 27. He's not doing it. When Jimmy Butler did this, he was 23. But it reminded me of Jimmy Butler's, like, second or third year when it was like, you stopped worrying about him actually dribbling. And he was, but his confidence is, it's just, we could imagine him putting up those stats because anyone can 3-and-D their way to like points and rebounds. But the way that he's going off the dribble and making reads and just doing all this tremendous Jimmy Butler stuff, that's out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I will. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm just going to say for this series, he averaged 19.3 points per game, along with 6.4 rebounds, about a steal per game. But the shooting splits, 60% from the field, made 88% of his free throws, hit 49% of his 3-pointers, averaged 3 makes per game. So just like all-time all-star level numbers from a guy in a conference finals going against a team renowned for their defense and their wing defense.
Lengthy wings. Outpacing the Martin twins even.
Was the best offseason move in the NBA last year just not re-signing PJ Tucker? Like PJ Tucker made a career. I mean, PJ Tucker got paid. Mm-hmm. He made a career decision, a competitive decision. I mean, and financial, but like he went to the quote unquote maybe a better team. Like he went to the Sixers thinking like this is a better chance to get wins. Who made a worse competitive decision this year? Was it PJ Tucker going to the Sixers from leaving the Heat? Was it Jay Crowder refusing to play for the Suns, ending up on the Bucks?
Or he also didn't play.
Or Kyrie Irving missing the playoffs.
I think Jay Crowder's
Jay Crowder,
because he just really didn't understand the amount of leverage that he had.
Yeah.
I mean, he wanted a contract extension and he needed to go to a different team to do that, but it just didn't work out at all like he wanted.
Right. So Jay Crowder's contract is up. He's an unrestricted free agent, and he didn't want to play for the Suns because they were like, "Hey, we're going to start Cam Johnson."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Well, I'm out." Well, then there's injuries, and then they needed a power forward desperately for a long time.
Yeah.
And Jay Crowder's like, "Well, I'm not playing here." And then he goes to the Bucks and gets DNPs in the playoffs. If he had just stayed put, I mean, maybe he would have got traded to the Kevin Durant deal. Maybe he would have been like the perfect role player alongside Kevin Durant.
I mean, he did get traded in the Kevin Durant deal anyway, so it's like,
yeah.
I guess that.
Yeah. So not the best. Now he's going to sign for the minimum for like the Grizzlies next year. So good job, Jay Crowder. Anyway, what did it weigh in?
I was going to say. Yeah. I was going to say my best thing was.
Oh yes, please.
Jimmy Butler winning that trophy over Caleb Martin. Look, it's defensible to vote for Caleb Martin. Don't get me wrong, but this is only first of all, this is the second year we've even had a conference finals MVP trophy, and people on the internet absolutely lost their minds as if there's a rich history of the Larry Bird trophy that was being violated. But what people weren't considering is there's not an award for the rest of the playoffs. And I think that in a way, I mean, it was, you could have voted for either guy, but Jimmy Butler also scored like 99 points in 2 games in the first round. And I feel like he was partially getting a trophy for that. It felt like it was a lot of like recency bias where I know Jimmy Butler didn't shoot that well, but basically in every crucial moment, he's basically leading the offense constantly.
Well, it reeked of Andre Iguodala finals.
That's what I was thinking.
Yes, thank you.
Where you're like, there's no way you're thinking he's the most important guy.
Yeah, like you're talking yourself
into
it.
It's like 25, 7, and 7.
Yeah, it's like the coach of the year. It's like the coach of the year award that doesn't go to the best coach. It goes to who exceeded expectations the most. Yeah. Well, Caleb Martin, he exceeded expectations the most. Give him whatever that award is.
Yeah,
he could just be a very good player on a nice playoff.
The Austin Crozier playing over your head award goes to Caleb Martin.
Anthony Johnson award.
Yeah.
Here, is this a best thing or a worst thing? Kevin Love has now made the playoffs 5 times in his career, and all 5 times he's made the finals. That could be steak and eggs. Seems good. We're happy for Kevin. Seems like a nice guy.
The story, he chose UCLA. Like, he does these things on purpose. It's that's the kind of career he has. The Iguodala sort of effect. Iguodala had to slum in Philadelphia for years, but after that, it was just, I get to go where I want to go.
Yeah. I mean, also a best thing, like this Heat team, which we all have kind of rolled our eyes at culture. Also, what about Udonis Haslem? Is this the best thing or worst thing, Kelly? Udonis Haslem joins, here's the 3 oldest players to ever make the NBA Finals. Ooh. Kareem, Robert Parrish, Udonis Haslem. Is that just a perfect troika?
He's making it in the same kind of Robert Parrish role when Parrish was the oldest, right? Because this is a Bulls.
Yeah.
Parrish started like a half dozen times that year. Parrish played in the second round against Dikembe a bit. Like, Parrish, I'm sorry, I love you, Udonis Haslem. I think we graduated high school the same year, but no, like,
do you think
could have played another year, and Udonis Haslem hasn't played for 6 years. So
yeah,
do you think Haslem secretly just wants to retire, and he's like, why won't you let me go? I just want to stop exercising every day. This body fat requirement, just let me go. Let me go.
Yeah, they're still taking a shirtless photo of him every year.
That's right.
Training him.
That's right.
Oh man.
Just let me go.
I just like the idea that he has an ongoing feud.
So
that, like, it's Spoelstra's keeping him off the bench, that he's still in practice, like Kurt Thomas popping, like he could still do 18 and 10, no problem, but just him and Spo. But the Heat never leak anything, so we never find out about it.
That's right. Let's go to a different topic. I think I'm going to call this my cream of wheat worst thing. Okay. This is basically unrelated to the playoffs, but it's near and dear to my heart. This is the Eric Lewis the referee tweeting scandal.
Thank you.
Yeah, a very important story. And here's why it's my worst thing. Apparently the league has opened up an investigation into referee Eric Lewis, who was involved in the Patrick Beverley showed him the camera. You remember the Patrick Beverley camera antics? That's the referee. Eric Lewis is the guy who teed him up for that. But there's a Twitter burner account that has been claimed to be used by Eric Lewis's brother. Just another a guy who did not do a good job at burner twittering. And that's the worst part about it for me. There's some really obvious things you should not do when you're running a burner account. Chiefly among them, you shouldn't follow things that can be easily traced back to a person. It almost looks like a setup. It's too obvious. It's like planting of the evidence in a cop show. This burner account only followed the official referee's account, the NBA rules account, and George Mason women's basketball account, where Eric Lewis's wife coaches. So, like, as someone who operates burner or Twitter accounts, none of my burners follow Fast Break Breakfast. That would be idiotic. That would be idiotic. Like, no, you can't follow your own stuff. Also, this burner account didn't mix it up. Yeah. They had like a sole focus, it seemed like. This is basic stuff where, like, you can't just only defend referee Eric Lewis on Twitter. Like, that's highly suspicious. And then tweet congratulations when Eric Lewis's wife gets a promotion, or when the team does well. I think it was a congratulations. So a lot of these very basic things. And now apparently Eric Lewis is facing possible punishment for the operation of this Twitter burner account. If in fact, I guess it was him. If it's his brother, I mean, what can you do?
Well, I mean, didn't Brian Colangelo throw his Italian wife under the bus for that burner scandal? She actually mixed it up a little bit, because I think she was following like some high school sports accounts or something like that were linked to the Colangelo family, but it wasn't just purely defending Brian and dumping on Joel Embiid.
Yes.
Find another angle, Sean. Move on.
Here's my Colangelo.
Do you think it was really his
greatest tweets of all time?
No, I don't. No, I think it was Colangelo.
It had to be.
I think it was a financial decision to try to divert the blame. I don't know I don't think it worked. Here's the important question. Kelly, if you are the person in charge, I don't know if it's Monty McCutcheon. I don't know if it's the head of security for the league. Is it Adam Silver himself? Joe Dumars weigh in. What is the appropriate punishment for a referee allegedly defending himself on Twitter through a burner Twitter account?
So social media training, as you just mentioned. You
media training?
Mix it up.
It's just tell him how to do it better.
As has been mentioned by many, many people, he did nothing wrong in those tweets. He wasn't giving away sensitive Philly information to journalists as Ms. Cufflink's queen did. He was just, providing innocuous commentary that the posts that I saw were pretty much spot on.
Kelly, I would like to emphasize what you just said, because I agree with it 100%. The responses I saw were like angry. It was to angry sports fans being like, this referee sucks. Look at this call. And the response was like, well, here's why that call is based on the NBA's rules. Like it's a correct call. Like as a referee defender, this guy did a good job defending referees.
Or as one of 13 people that gets a run up and down the same court as everyone else, have a greater appreciation for 10 of these guys and maybe one of the referees I'm working with. I thought it was fantastic. No, he just needs to know you got to throw Barack Obama follow in there. You got to get like real
a couple big accounts,
liberal stuff, like the NBA account, like NBA/Spain, go exotic, but some form of social media training. Give him an avatar.
Just retweet some random NBA memes, and that muddies it enough. That just
retweet some giveaways. This guy's giving out $1,000 in Bitcoin. Just smack a couple of those out there. Yeah. No, I liked it. This person was basically like calmly explaining why rules were correctly called, or like why calls were. It wasn't like it wasn't like, hey, take the under. These referees call. Don't let them play or something. It was just very much like defending the honor of this person using facts and calm reasoning. It was not anything like the Colangelo stuff.
Isn't the most inappropriate referee use of Twitter this year that tearful apology to LeBron James that the official NBA ref account made? That should be an investigation.
And last year's, was it the Scott Foster Jack Harlow music video?
That was pretty embarrassing. I watched that and I just kept thinking, what does Scott Foster think the reaction to this is going to be? Like,
or not just him, the people who made it, the league, the NBA, everyone in charge of what the situation was. Sean, do you have another worse thing, or do you anything that's caught your eye in the last few days? Yeah, what do you got?
I do have a worse thing, and that is Tyler Hero accelerating his return for the NBA Finals, because this, to me, I mean, look, it seems like they should need him. Denver's going to score a lot of points, but this to me reminds me of the 2009 NBA Finals when the Magic decided to rush Jameer Nelson back from injury when they were kind of in this like Rafer Alston groove. They already kind of like, they already had Hedo Turkoglu being a point forward, and they brought Jameer Nelson back, I want to say in game 2, and he was good for about 4 minutes, and then it became very clear that he had not played basketball in overall.
I saw him at the hotel bar.
Who's him? Who's him, Kelly?
For Yahoo. What's that? Oh, Jameer Nelson.
Jameer Nelson. Okay,
sorry. In between games, and it was just this man should not be playing basketball. I have no idea why he was wandering in the media hotel bar with some sort of gift bag next to him, but it was just obvious former fashion in the series. Where's Tyler Hero? I mean, come on. He's got some left-handed tricks in the arsenal.
Sean, you turned it back to 2009, which I think is a good comparison. I'd like to turn it back to yesterday when Malcolm Brogdon played.
Oh yeah.
The Celtics got outscored by 15 in the 7 minutes Malcolm Brogdon played.
He had a tendon from his elbow to his forearm on his shooting arm.
Yeah.
And he kept taking threes. He didn't play in game 6, but he made his last three a minute into the second quarter in game 2.
Yeah.
And then, but he kept putting them up. And there was a video that made me feel so confident in Miami that came out like 2 hours before game time, where 3 hours before, where people were putting clips like, I don't know, Malcolm Brogdon, these totally undefended practice jumpers look pretty good. And I was just there thinking, like, should he be taking those? Like they just said that he rested for a day and his elbow was no longer like horrifically swollen. And it's like, well, do you really want to put up 200 shots before this game if that's the case? Like, you're already injured elbow that you hurt again. And I don't know, it was bizarre. I actually feel like the Heat suckered the Celtics into playing him, because there was a Woj tweet that's like, nope, even though Tyler Hero was listed as out up until noon yesterday, not only is he questionable, he's playing. And then he didn't even dress. But
I missed that totally. I was enjoying my Memorial Day.
Yeah, there was a quick. I just noticed it because I was doing laundry, so I was.
Yeah,
I was just kind of bored, but waiting for things. Anyway, that was amazing. That it was just like, yep, Tyler Hero coming back. You better match him, Boston. And then they just did it all. Player.
Well, I think the situation is if the Heat get a split in the first 2 games, because I think I saw some stuff. Maybe did I dream this? Talk about him coming back for maybe game 3 or something.
3, yeah.
Okay, so if the Heat get a split, or if they win both in Denver, that's one of those, like, man, you can't come back. Like, if I'm a player and we're up 2-0 in the NBA Finals, I'm still like, man, I don't know, man. I don't know if I want to mess this up, because if it goes badly, it's just all going to be me. It's all going to be like talking about me, like how I screw things up. So that's a tough situation there. Here's a totally different topic. I think for me, this is a cream of wheat. I want to know what you guys think. The Sixers chose a coach, and it's Nick Nurse. I dabbled in cheering for the Sixers last year because of D'Anthony Melton. I kind of wanted Nick Nurse to go to the Suns to create like a super villain team, because I don't like Nick Nurse. And so I thought that would be fun. So now that Nick Nurse is coming to the Sixers, is this good or bad? Kelly, what do you think?
It's not. He plays everyone 46 minutes a game, and he's going to run the Sixers.
Right. So make your MB jokes. That's the way we have to do it.
And also, what are their 2 best players? Their best players are D'Anthony Melton and Tyrese Maxey, and they share a position. So how is this going to work, Nick Nurse? When I heard it, he gave a good interview. He gave a good interview when he talked about all the Galaxy brand. They're going to do stuff with Morey, with all the myriad options. And, it makes sense to me in a lot of ways, even if the jokes about Embiid are irrelevant by November. It's someone who Daryl Morey feels comfortable with, in the Mike D'Antoni sense of this guy is a wild card and he's malleable and he can play to the situation. And, that's just me grinding the best possible scenario out of it. But we have no clue. I'm not the biggest Embiid's going to get traded guy, but we have no clue what that team's going to look like in September.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think of just a coach swapping teams in division? Like Masai Ujiri being like, yeah, it's cool, we don't want you. And then like, oh, no, you're going to the Sixers, a team that's been better than us. I mean, we don't know what's going on with Harden or whatever. Kelly, you just kind of tempted me with like 46 minutes of Maxey Melton backcourt. That sounds cool. That sounds great. I mean, that works for me.
It's pretty wild, because I'm not sure that there's compelling evidence that Nick Nurse is a good coach. Like, he did win a title. I mean,
count the ring, Sean.
Yeah. But what if Dwayne Casey was still coaching that team and they'd added Kawhi Leonard and Marc Gasol? Like, was that was Nick Nurse the difference in that team, or did they just add one of the five
I mean,
best players in the NBA?
I think I could argue. I hear what you're saying, and we won't definitively know the answer. I do feel like Nick Nurse coming in and being able to throw those curveballs of like, what if we played a box and one, or like, what if we did weird defenses that people hadn't really seen before? I mean, much like I feel like Spoelstra in the game 7 was like, let's do more zone. Let's switch everything now. Let's try to take the Celtics out. And it was just like having a coach like that, who maybe just something you're not accustomed to. Maybe that does give a team advantage. I don't know. But he also, like you said, they got Kawhi, they got Marc Gasol. And then
the
Nick,
next, they went to the exact same level they were at before, except a little bit worse in the regular season. And I mean, that's not all the coach. The players change, people get older, but I'm just not totally convinced that. I mean, he's not Doc Rivers. That'll be a positive, I guess. Almost anyone besides Doc Rivers is probably an upgrade.
Well, now Doc Rivers might end up in Phoenix. Apparently, he's on one of the finalists for that job. I think they're saying, yeah.
Yeah, if you're gonna get Dave Yeager out of Philly, everything's will open up in whatever offense Morey wants. It's just your typical Daryl stuff.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, let's move on to some listener submitted questions. The croissant questionnaire. Patrick Kirkner asks, what's the more attractive coaching job that's available right now between these two options? Milwaukee's head coach or Greg Popovich's lead assistant / heir apparent? What do you guys think?
I mean, just for the quality of life, I think look, I have not been to either city, and I hear very nice things about Milwaukee, but that lead assistant tenure for Greg Popovich, you're going to be eating the greatest food you've ever had in your life. You're going to have such an appreciation for wine. It feels like it would just be just an incredible experience simply to just work with Victor Wembanyama. Like, you come to work and there's a 7'5" French teenager who's like shooting 30 footers. Like, just that alone is like, even if it doesn't lead to anything, even if you don't become the Spurs head coach afterwards, it just feels like it's almost like you're going on a safari. You know what I mean? Like, it just feels like it would be a very unique experience to be in San Antonio the next couple of years.
Kelly, what do you think? Would you choose 28-year-old Giannis, or however old is he, 18, 19-year-old Wembanyama?
Yeah, I'd choose the Spurs gig even if Giannis was 4 years younger. The NBA coaches get hired, and there's no guarantee you're going to be in that beautiful burg of Milwaukee for those, those mini Popovich years. So yeah, pick your job security and do like Pop and buy 1 million condos in San Antonio. And like, even if you don't follow Pop out to dinner, just the food there is just, go to Texas. And even if you're not the heir apparent, go there. And like Sean had said, and work with this special unicorn. Giannis, it's an NBA culture with him now. If you go to San Antonio, you get a chance to be part of something special. Where with Milwaukee, that's kind of already been Budenholzer. So San Antonio all the way.
You make a good point that Budenholzer got run out of town just a couple of years after winning a title. Let's do.
I will say,
yes.
I have some coaching experience, but only in swimming, and coaching the teams with a lot of like enthusiastic youngsters, rather than coaching a team that is a little more motivated to be competitive. The first one's way better.
Okay.
I mean, just like it's way more satisfying to have everybody on the team be a little bit good at swimming than dealing with. I mean, there is something truly bizarre about like a star 8-year-old swimmer. And parents treating them like they're like the LeBron James of the butterfly. Yeah, you're better off teaching Blake Wesley, the principles of help defense.
Interesting. I'll say I've coached little kids soccer, and I've coached
Wesley of the Butterfly.
Yeah.
Get over here, Kyle.
That and the Rafer Alston groove are two very good turns of phrase that have come out of this episode so far. No, I'd say I've coached little kids soccer. I've also coached ultimate frisbee, and my takeaway is I like teams that have the most talent. That is I just want the talent. Maybe I haven't dealt with the angry parents yet, but give me skill first and foremost. I think I might choose the Bucks gig just based on Drew Holiday, Middleton, and Giannis. Give me that for 2 years over whatever.
I just want that deep Alamo history. I want to become a buff. You know who else is an Alamo buff? Phil Collins. Look it up.
Wow.
Not joking.
We will look that up. One more
sizable and worth quite a bit of money Alamo collection.
So I have 2 video projects that I'm planning for the off season. One of them is to make AC Green is in a pro abstinence video from the late 80s, and it's too long to really present, so I want to cut it into chunks. And then the other video project I have is I want to make a supercut of all the times Phil Collins went on a talk show and explained the reason his album's called No Jacket Required, because he's legitimately furious that he went to this restaurant and like they made him put on like the house jacket in LA, and it's not a good story, but he was clearly like really mad. And it's the subtext of the story is, how could they make me, Phil Collins, the drummer from Genesis, put on a jacket just to go to a restaurant?
Dude, if you intertwined that with David Stern adding the dress code to the NBA,
oh my God,
I think you might have a slam bang bit of content on your hands right there.
That's gonna be my new burner account. Is Phil Collins NBA?
Does Phil say it's in LA? A liar.
He does not say it's in LA. It could definitely be. Yeah. It's probably New York, actually.
He was in the pump room in Chicago.
Oh, that was it.
And he was with Robert Plant at the time.
I'm not sure. At No Jacket Required is available on Twitter. If you want that as a burner account.
I think I might have to spring for.
I need to. I'll give you 1 hour before this show goes up. You can chase that down. Here's one more question. One more listener question from Gavin. He says this is prompted by a highlight reel he saw of Steven Adams and also from Kevin Love in these playoffs. Gavin's question is, who is the greatest baseball passer of all time? I'd like to go first here. Bo Jackson. I think does that count?
Does he have to be a basketball player?
I probably. You guys also follow baseball? I don't even know. I just remember Bo Jackson.
He did have really an amazing.
I think a baseball pass is normally called a throw in the sport of baseball. But no, all right. So who throws the best baseball pass in basketball in your estimation? Kelly, what do you think?
Who's the Andre Dawson? Who's the Dave Parker? I mean, all time, I'll vouch for Rodman. He threw some great one-handers.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
Threw some great two-handers too. Over the head, chest pass. But yeah, he threw the occasional wraparound one-handed. So I'll go for D-Rod.
I love Dennis Rodman. He was my first favorite NBA player. I had a Pistons wallet when I was 9, and I had drawn a picture of Dennis Rodman on it. It just said the worm, which I scratched that with a pin. My memory, though, of Rodman's passes, a lot of those overhead outlet passes, also shades of Draymond Green with sometimes too ambitious. Firing some of those way out of bounds, too, sometimes.
All arms, quick hits, no arms in it. Yeah. Or excuse me, no legs in it. Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah. You have any players that come to your mind, Sean, for best basketball throw in the baseball style outlet pass, I guess?
I mean, I'm seeing, this playoffs kind of reminded everybody of Kevin Love's special ability at that. I'm not thinking broadly enough because he is pretty amazing at it. And for whatever reason, it was kind of more. It's weird because Kevin Love weirdly sort of looks more athletic every year he gets older.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just that he had more baby fat in his face before, but it was more magical when he kind of sort of looked like shit and had like a bad haircut, and now he's just incredibly handsome. And now it's like there's some magic that's lost because he had more that kind of that Jokic vibe of like, how is this guy even a basketball player? And when he was throwing the outlet passes, now it's like, well, obviously this salt and pepper guy, like he looks like he could like captain a ship now.
He looks like doing the what's that called? Not the World's Cup, the boat, the yacht race.
America's Cup.
America's Cup.
He's got some Dennis Conner in him. Okay.
Yeah. So you said the name I was thinking, and it's obviously maybe it's finals related. Jokic. Just give me Jokic. Yeah. I mean, like I'm a big biased fan, and I could say like Marc Gasol. I remember lots of Marc Gasol, kind of great one-hand passes, but he never got to the level that even Kevin Love did. I mean, Kevin Love was just the quantity. I remember that being in like Kevin Love's like draft profile. They were like, you know what? This guy throws these outlet passes. No one does that anymore. He's like Bill Walton or is whoever starting the break.
Is Wes Unseld supposed to be a great? I feel like I have such a vague idea of the NBA before 1980.
Right.
Where like I know the names and I know what happened, but I there's a lot of players that I don't really visualize from the 70s, basically.
Yeah, Unseld was the king of the outlet pass. He was like 6'6", but he looked about 6'3.5". And yeah, he just flung them. And back in a game when it was terrible basketball then. So you have someone actually throwing something 70 feet. It was a highlight.
Yeah,
they fashioned the entire halftime shows around it.
Yeah,
Jordan was also good at the baseball pass, the one-handed. He did more one-handed than two. He did a lot of quarterback stuff.
Yeah,
Johnny Redkirk delighted in talking about how it was a good shot from right field because he had those giant hands. So he just fling it all the time.
And he took that baseball pass down to the Birmingham Barons. So good job by him. Speaking of NBA before the 1980s, Sean, Eric Spoelstra has now tied himself for the most finals appearances with John Kundla.
John Kugla Mellencamp, I guess.
John Kundla, Kundla.
Oh, John
Kundla. Also tied.
Kundla is in Minnesota.
Yes, Greg Popovich and Steve Kerr. Kundla coached the Mikan teams at the start of the NBA. The only coaches with more NBA Finals appearances than Spoelstra: Phil Jackson, Red Auerbach, and Pat Riley. So impressive stuff there. Anyways, thanks.
So he's that's for being an assistant or a head coach?
No, head coach.
Head coach. So he's 6? Is he
6? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. According to this, I mean, I'm just looking at it. Yeah. Okay.
I think Kerr's been to 7 as a coach.
I'm just quoting.
No,
I think
I'm
Justin Kapotko.
Yeah.
The
All right, fair enough.
Blame Basketball Reference. Not my problem. Anyways, thanks for the questions, guys. If you want your own question answered on air, you have to become a Patreon supporter. Do that at patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. Also, very important, Patreon supporters, fill out your finals predictions. The last round of the Stone Cold Locks Challenge will be released later today. I'll also post the updated standings. I think I have them actually right here. This is a live reveal.
By the way, Kerr only had 6, so the fact checker is, I'm sorry.
The fact checker is correct. Good job.
Yeah.
Cam is currently leading the way with 47 points. Second place is a tie between Adam P. and Dallas Swindell. Ian Walker is in 4th place. Sam Hinkie, or Hamsinki, excuse me, is in 5th place. So for the finals of the Stone Cold Locks Challenge, there's a twist. You have the option of risking some points by picking who the finals MVP will be as well. All the rules are spelled out in the post over at patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. So if you want to get involved with some of these games we play all year round, you want to get your question answered on air, you want to join the Slack channel, do it all, patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. It is now time for the International It is now time for the awards segment of the program, the International Stackhouse of Pancakes Award, given each week to the worst performance in a box score. This week, we have one honorable mention. Gabe Vincent was 6 for 18 in Game 6. We have 3 nominees that we are picking between.
Okay.
Jimmy Butler, Game 6, Jimmy Butler, 5 for 21 from the field. He had 24 points, 11 rebounds, 8 assists, a steal, 2 turnovers, 3 personal fouls. Bam Adebayo, in that same Game 6, was 4 for 16 from the field, had 11 points, 13 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. No turnovers, no personal fouls. Perhaps try, Bam. And then Jaylen Brown in Game 7, Jaylen Brown, 8 for 23, 19 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks, 8 turnovers, 5 personal fouls. So we're picking between Jimmy Butler, 5 for 21, 24 points, 11 boards, 8 assists. Bam Adebayo, 4 for 16, 11 points, 13 boards, 5 assists. And then Jaylen Brown, 8 for 23, 19 points, 8 boards, 8 turnovers.
That's a tribute to Kobe. He was so there with the 8 turnovers.
If he had gone, oh my God, if he had gone 8 for 24, oh my God, or even the Kobe tribute 6 for 24, which
that would have been,
I mean, that would have made it easy. I think we're picking between Jimmy's 5 for 21, just because the sheer volume of missed shots, and Jaylen Brown, I mean, 8 for 23, a much better field goal percentage, but when you combine it with the 8 turnovers and 5 fouls, that's a lot. What are you guys thinking?
I think Jaylen, because Jimmy looked like he was going to get this in a runaway, and then scoring so many points at the end.
Oh, Sean, I'm sorry. You're breaking in context of watching the game.
Oh, you're right. Just numbers.
Explicitly not allowed. It's only what the numbers are.
I think 8 turnovers tied a record for Game 7s, maybe.
That's something I can look up. Yeah.
I think he tied the record.
He definitely finished the series with more turnovers than assists, which is very impressive.
I know Caleb Martin made more threes than Tatum and Brown combined.
Oh Lord. That's not great.
Like 19 to 15.
All right, so
15, I think.
So Sean, you're going Jaylen Brown.
I'm going Jaylen
Brown. Kelly, what's your vote? Jimmy, Bam, or Jaylen?
Without the context of the game, see, I have this add-on in my browser that shows on my box score whether or not a player has had his shot blocked by Duncan Robinson. So I'm going to have to go with Brown because he had a 1 in that last game.
Oh my goodness. Also Duncan Robinson, he got like 20 something DNPs this year.
Yeah.
And now he's back again.
And he's a defensive stopper now.
He could beat guys off the dribble now. He was just saving that all season. Incredible. I'm giving that's all Spoelstra credit. Spoelstra told him, don't beat anyone off the dribble during the regular season. We're going to need that later.
It's just nice that something good is happening to a Phillips Exeter graduate.
All right,
America's underdogs.
You guys both went with Jaylen Brown, so I won't mess it up. Congratulations, Jaylen Brown. I might throw mine to Jimmy just to split the vote, but still, Jaylen Brown wins. Congratulations, Jaylen Brown, on losing yourself money, I believe, in your upcoming contract negotiations with your hideous postseason or hideous conference finals. But you are this week's International Stackhouse of Pancakes Award winner. Par fadeaway, guys. What thing are we looking forward to in the coming week? We haven't even mentioned the Denver Nuggets, who have been sitting patiently, maybe watching the games, maybe practicing. I don't really know what they've been up to. What things are you looking forward to in the coming week? Sean, what are you most excited about?
Okay, so I have this feeling that we're going to get a Adam Morrison at the NCAA final situation where one or both Jokic brothers shows up with just a horrible sunburn, that they're just not ready to go out in Miami. They don't have they haven't adjusted to the metric system's SPF levels, and we're just going to get like both of them not wanting to move or touch anything because they're just so burned in Miami. They're just not used to it.
All right, is Nikola included in the Jokic brothers? Here.
Yeah, but it's like a weird sunburn where it's like
where he didn't get the suntan lotion on the back of his arm or somewhere.
Yeah, like it's
back
like
of
the
his
back
shoulder,
of his arm.
Yeah,
and
I got you.
Yeah, it's like it's in the shape of a t-shirt, not like a basketball jersey.
Yeah, the scars are weirdly emphasized.
Yeah.
Kelly,
I can even see one of his brothers like writing a dirty word on his back.
Oh,
suntanned in.
Right.
But no one will know because it's
cartoon
not in
penis
English.
on the back.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I can see that.
Classic.
Dropping the mint leaves from his mojito on them. Yeah, they're full of hijinks.
Yeah. Kelly, are you what's your thought on just this series? I mean, I think most people's initial reaction is this is advantage Denver, but we've doubted the Heat the whole way through.
Yeah, I think the Heat can. There's so many days off between games. I just think the Heat can take one in Denver. And can they stay in front of that offense? Better than the Lakers? Yeah, probably. Lakers are technically a better defense, but Miami isn't done yet. It hasn't figured out its ways yet. And, they're, by all accounts, it really should be 4 games and an average of 14 points per game at Denver sweep. But I just think Miami can take games 2 and 3, and that's it, and make a series out of it.
Yeah, I mean, this Denver offense right now, in every round of the playoffs so far, they posted over a 120 offensive rating when Jokic was on the court. It's just like, what are we supposed to do with that? Like, everyone thought, oh, well, the Lakers, they'll slow them down at least. And, they could maybe win the non-Jokic minutes and AD will slow. Nope. They just kept cranking, kept cruising. Like, unbelievable offensive efficiency when Jokic plays. And like Bam, amazing defender, but he is not, doesn't have the same size even that like AD does. Maybe he has more broad arms, broader base, but like that's a tough matchup. And then they don't have anybody. They have no but big guys. Like they have nobody else on the roster. So I don't know. It seems wild. Also, Jimmy Butler he's got like a Denver connection. I know he was like good friends. I was saying like Demaryius Thomas, a Broncos player. Like I remember seeing Jimmy Butler in Denver, like social media stuff all the time. Cause like years ago, I'm like, man, Nuggets got to do what they can just to trade for Jimmy Butler. If he likes being in Denver, Jimmy Butler with Jokic would be perfect. Now we get this great matchup.
Oh my God. Yeah.
That's what I guess we're all looking forward to. Anyways, that series, if you don't know, kicks off on Thursday night, and then game 2 is on Sunday. Should be absolutely incredible. Well, you guys, thanks for listening. If you want to support the program, do that at patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. You can follow us on Twitter at fastbreakbreak. Follow Sean and Kelly on Twitter. Great guys. Great follows. Listen to the Round Ball Rock podcast. Subscribe to the Second Arrangement Substack where Kelly gives all of his basketball writing. Subscribe to the Fast Break Breakfast and Grits and Grinds YouTube channels. Anyways, you guys are the best. Thanks for listening. Remember, breakfast is the most important thing.